restrooms are through these doors, if anybody needs to slip out during the presentation. Let's see, if you'd like to silence all your phones and pagers, if those still exist, you can do that now. With nothing further to do, I would like to introduce the director and executive producer, writer, the creator of Papercut 2, Bryan Sanders.
All right, thank you everyone for coming out. It's really kind of an honor to be here and to show off this movie that I've been working on for forever. Since late September '09, and then wrap production August 2012, and then just for the beginning of 2013, just doing some touch-ups for post-production and setting this event and everything. So it's been a long time coming, and I thank everyone's support, especially my cast and crew who have just put up with me for this for the 2 years. So it's been very difficult and also very rewarding because I've been able to do this movie pretty much out of pocket, shooting weekend to weekend, paycheck to paycheck. From September '09 to now, I probably maybe had about $20,000 put into this movie as a whole. Now that's quite a lot, but it was spread out over 2 years. So, but the movie has a lot of production value. I bought 5 cars for the movie. It was actually cheaper to buy 5 cars than to rent them. My reasoning was we had a few car chase scenes, explosions and going off road and stuff like that. And if I was to borrow someone else's car and try to hey, can I borrow you have a really nice 65 Shelby Mustang? Can I borrow it? Oh yeah, okay, thanks for the keys. Okay. Oh, but we're going to be attaching camera equipment on the car. We're going off road. We're going to be driving 60 miles an hour, doing turns. Oh, you want the keys back? Oh, okay. So that's basically what would have happened if it was that. If I started borrowing a car. So I went ahead and saved up money, and so I bought my own vehicles for the car chase scenes and stuff like that. And two of the vehicles used in the movie had to be restored from the ground up. So the brakes went out on one, and the other one had a complete paint-off restoration, new vinyl top and stuff like that, and new tune-up and everything. So, and then I had to act in the movie and had to write the script and then make all the props and the wardrobe and all the artwork and stuff like that. So I'm just like a Swiss Army knife in regards to this production. And normally that would be kind of a good thing, but it's also very, very stressing because not only am I in charge of all the departments, but I am the departments. So it's usually a lot better if I had a large group of people with a large cast and crew, which would handle out the props and the vehicles and stuff like that, and get a certified mechanic or something. But it was all me, and I had a lot of help from everyone else and the crew that was with me, and. But it was really tough. A lot of personal and emotional and spiritual struggles over the 2 years of making this movie. And I just want to thank my family and friends and the crew, like I said, for putting up with me and sticking with me and seeing the movie to the end. And I just want to thank God, Jesus, who's also in the audience tonight, who plays the Jesus of the movie. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, amen, brother. I really want to thank Jesus for seeing me through these hard times, because it's been very difficult and very stressful, because I'm pretty much doing the impossible. I'm not related to any Hollywood producer. My dad wasn't it wasn't Steven Spielberg or something like that, so I wasn't born with the silver spoon in my hand. I had to go out into the woods, chop the tree down, whittle down a spoon, and then paint it, and then I had to go hunt the game and then eat it. It was just really a strong battle. It was just a battle from the beginning to end, and I just want to thank everyone for coming out and, like I said, supporting. For those of you that bought comic books and posters and like that, and just to give back to the movie and to help me continue making movies, and that's what I want to do, and I think I'm pretty good at it. This is my first feature film. I've done some feature film work out of Indiana, Colorado, Indianapolis, and Chicago, and LA. I did some stuff for the Sci-Fi Channel a while back. I have a movie that's going to be premiering in Chicago later this year that I helped do some special effects and prop work for that. But this is my first feature film that I've done solely by myself. In regards to directing, script writing, and all the kind of stuff. So I didn't go to film school. I didn't go to film school. I took one video production class in college, and I had, I think, 2 classes here at this high school where me and Tyler were running around with Casey Crow, Joey Marzoni, all my friends from high school were just running around the halls doing all this weird stuff, and that just kind of left an impression on me because I had so much fun doing it, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get all of the crew back together. I did get my old media production teacher, Victor Black, who's the AD at the Liberty High School, doing the sports, and I actually got him to come back to doing the movie stuff. So he has a voiceover role in the movie. So it was really kind of trying to bring back the old crew from LCHS 2004. So it's been a while, but. Like I said, I want to thank you guys all for coming out, and I don't really have anything else to say. We'll have a quick Q&A after the movie. I will say that we have some really cool stuff planned for Saturday. We're at the same time, same bat channel. Again, thank you all for coming out and supporting the movie, and I guess without further ado, I give you Papercut 2.
We'll introduce ourselves as well. I guess I'm Bryan Sanders. I am the executive producer and director of photography, are my 2 main roles. So,
I'm Bryan Sanders, the director, editor, special effects guy, props, wardrobe, mechanic, art department, special effects again, everything pretty much. But I couldn't have done it without everyone else. And
Frederick Solano, I'm the actor in there, more support, producer, pretty much it.
I'm editor Trey, writer, associate producer, moral support, special effects, puppeteering.
So just with our titles and stuff like that, if anyone had any questions or comments about either plot points or special effects or props or anything, you can just ask myself or anyone else directly to get some feedback on the movie and how Hollywood is made, how special effects and movies are made. I'll be glad to answer any questions at this time, if there are any.
I have one. How'd you get the car to go by itself without anybody in it? The car.
The car? You got that one? Check. Okay. Yeah, actually, when we were doing the car scene, the reason there was nobody driving the car was because the actor that was supposed to be driving the car canceled on us like 3 weekends in a row, and we decided we couldn't rely on him anymore, so we decided to make the car talking and not driving, or driving by itself. But how we did that shot was I was actually in the driver's seat driving, hunched down so you couldn't see me. We had our backup camera suction cupped to the side of the car with a monitor running to my lap. So I'm driving the car, looking at the monitor, trying to like not wreck, while Brian like trying to read Brian's lines while he's like over here and trying to like give him cues, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, I think we're gonna die. He's like, just keep left, you're going over. I'm like, come on, it's a little harder than it looks. Well, yeah, so that's how we did. That's how we were actually driving. There was no green screen. It was all practical. But yeah,
That was great.
Yeah.
And another thing about some of the celebrity cameos and stuff like that, some of you probably, I heard some people chuckling whenever certain scenes were done, but for the Oldsmobile, the yellow Oldsmobile, that was parodying Evil Dead. There was a horror film that's my favorite. Casey Crow in high school, he introduced me to Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi, who was my inspiration for making the movie. But that car is Sam Raimi's car that is featured in every single Evil Dead movie, every single Spider-Man, any movie that's in the modern time that Sam Raimi has done, that car appears in there. And Tom Sullivan, the guy who did the special effects and created the Book of the Dead for the original Evil Dead, he was the voice in the car. And then another guy named Mojo Nixon, he appeared in the Mario Brothers scene. Whenever I got the call, the cell phone, it was Mojo Nixon, and he was in the original Mario Brothers movie with Dennis Hopper and Bob Hoskins. And the prop that Clint Cloyd, Luigi, he pulled out of his necklace, or out of his shirt, that was the necklace, the actual necklace used in the Mario Brothers movie. I tracked down the prop designer and the guy that got all the props after the movie, and he let me borrow it for the scene. And then there was another scene that we won't show today, but we'll show tomorrow, involving Ian McIntosh and Jesse Sosa, and those two worked on the Ghostbusters video game, and they provided some lines, and they're in the movie as well. And Ben Wood, who is an up-and-coming Louisville actor, who had just got done working with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and then he came on my movie. So he's going to be up-and-coming actor, and he's from Louisville, and Jayme, he's worked with them, so we can all say, us small guys, we knew him before he got big. So he's up in New York right now. He was actually supposed to be down here to watch the premiere, but something come up, and that's clearly understandable. You're in New York, I'm in Kentucky. It's no biggie if you can't come. I mean, but he really wanted to be here tonight. And some of my
country music video with the band Perry too.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff, and he just posted some new stuff on Facebook where he's doing some commercial for a Japanese company or something like that. So he's, like I said, he has some roots here in Kentucky, and I'm glad to have worked with him. And he was actually really one of the best actors on the set. Not to knocking anybody else here, but he was well worth the money we paid, because, like I said, there were certain scenes that were running over budget. The movie was over budget about a year, and about $8,000. But at that point, during the second year of shooting, it was just really, really tight, and some stuff was getting canceled and changed at the last second. And Ben, he came through, and it was just, we did that entire cult scene in one day. Like the car chase scene, that was done in like 3 days. I mean, we shot really fast, but it took so long because we only shot weekend paycheck to paycheck. Usually a normal movie budget is budgeted out, and you just shoot consecutively for like maybe 3 or 4 months. Well, we wasn't able to work that into our oh, yeah, sorry, I'm just rambling on. Any other questions? any plot points or special effect tricks or anything?
Tell your story about the warehouse.
Oh, okay. I'll take this one. Okay, so at the warehouse, where we filmed a lot of the special effects stuff with referencing the Sonic the Hedgehog video game. We were in there, and we had gotten permission from the mayor to be there because it's private property. But there's also some guys working in the back because they're doing some construction stuff, and they have like working chainsaws and stuff. And apparently somebody thought we were doing some drug deals or something, so they ended up calling the police, and we got reported for I guess the domestic questionable, like just anyway. We're filming, and Brian's loaded up with all these guns, and he's wearing sunglasses. It's like midnight, almost 1 in the morning. And then we see these flashlights come on, and this guy says freeze. And I'm just like, okay, we thought it was the other guys playing a trick on us. So like, I'm like, okay, I turn around, and then 2 Stanford policemen walk in with bulletproof vests and their guns drawn, thinking that with all our light setups and all the extension cords running from the only room that had power, that we were doing an operation in there, and that we were ready to like go to town. So we freak out, and then, like we put the guns down, and then it's just like it just got like really crazy for like 5 seconds, and then we're like, hey, it's okay. So they called the mayor, they woke up the mayor. But at the same time, while they were coming in on us, they heard about the people like down the hall. So 2 other guys went and talked to them at the same time, and then they're like, hey, what are you guys doing? The guy was just like working on the ceiling or something. He goes, oh, just robbing the place. And he's like, okay, get out. And he was like,
It could have went really, really bad.
But yeah, we had a couple encounters with the police. But I guess the way that we could get this done was more like ask questions later, and just more of like a guerrilla style filming, where do whatever we can to get it done. So at the conversation where they're driving down Main Street, I was actually hanging on the side of Fred's truck with the camera, trying to get the conversation in the car. And then, another cop car pulls up. He's like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, nothing. Just filming. But, yeah.
That was fun.
So.
But eventually the cops called on us so many times that they wanted to be in the movie. So I got Kirk Folger, the local sheriff, and the police chief's son, and they got their cruiser out. So we eventually put them in the movie because they kept coming out to our set so many times. So we're just, okay, we'll give you a role. Just, all right, we'll take care of it.
I think one of the neat points, and I appreciate you asking me to be in the movie, was everything that me and you shot. Laura was not there when you shot with Laura, but you really tied it together good where you would have thought we was in the building at the same time and working at it. I think you've done really a great job of the editing to put all that together like
And that was one of the things that this movie was so big and so grandiose. Really, I mean, this first time running a feature film, I didn't really know what the limits were and what we could do with our budget. Now I know. This movie was really probably too much I could bite off of, but I had to finish it. Yes, it was way too much. But that was one of the tricks I did, is as far as trying to get everyone on set at the same time. If you notice, like in the movie, most of them are usually on cell phones or at a different location, because not one time had there been really anyone more than like 10 people on set. The most we had on set was during the protest, the protest scene. So that was the one way I could cheat, not having everyone show up at the same time, is if they're like on cell phones or something. Because normally on a bigger budget with a bigger crew, you would have everyone kind of in the same area. But I kind of divided the script up, knowing full well that I'd probably be able to get everyone on there, and that's why most of the celebrity cameos are like voiceovers and on cell phones, and that just really worked well, because Chuck's going on this adventure, so he's encountering new things, so it plays into it. Now, if the entire movie was just two people talking on a cell phone, it'd probably be really boring, but a lot of stuff happens between each call.
Do you want to tell people here what Papercut 1 was, or do you want to do that tomorrow?
Yeah. Papercut 1 was a project that me and Bryan shot for his college at Spencerian. Was it? Yeah, Spencerian. It is actually a 10-minute short film for one of his video classes, and I was in 8th grade when we shot that. But we're actually going to be showing Papercut 1 tomorrow night. Instead of doing like, I guess, we'll show Papercut 1 and then we'll show Papercut 2 again tomorrow night, and then we'll show the after video, which is called Chuck's New Job, which, like Bryan said, references the people that were on the Ghostbusters movie. And then you saw the picture in the credits, it's the most pinpoint accurate Ghostbuster replica car, and it was in Ohio. And Bryan found some people, or
I got connections.
he tracked that guy down, and he came out and did a scene for us with the actual Ghostbuster car. And then we shot another scene earlier with back when Bryan had all the Ghostbuster props, and it was like dead on accurate, screen accurate. You know, whenever we referenced like another movie, we tried to make it like as pinpoint accurate as we could. So Bryan went out and he found all the little tricks and gadgets on the actual Ghostbusters uniform, and I guess we shot over 100 hours of footage over the course of our filming, and then we had to cut it down to an hour and 15 minutes. So a lot of the stuff like that we shot with Jayme that was like really awesome. We had an individual scene. There's like a whole dialogue sequence, and he has a whole monologue that he's just.
You probably remember a little bit more.
But,
some of you probably remember some more lines that were cut or something. It wasn't, especially Ian. I know Ian and Ben Rossi. They had a lot of stuff cut, and it wasn't that you're bad or anything. It's just that if we would have included everything that was in my original script, it'd probably be like a 5-hour movie. Because that's just, like I said, this is my first feature film. I didn't know the limits, and now I know the limits, and now I know not to go past them and stay within budget, and just to stay at least somewhat reasonable with everything. And I think I did the best I could with what I had here. And like I said, it was just kind of hodgepodge of over 2 years trying to get everything, keep it together, stay focused, because like I said, you drag this out, I can't really remember what I'm doing like in 1 month, and let alone 3 or 4 months, and then you're still shooting and you're having to go back and realize that there's holes in the script, and you fill out, and you go out and do a pickup shot and come back and you realize there's still other things. But
I'll pass this off to Drew. Why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of like collaborating with Bryan with the writing process and your on-set stuff.
Oh.
And a little bit about the trailer and how we had to clean that up.
When was that, January?
No, it was in summer. It was summer. What?
it all blends together.
Cleaning out the trailer for the drug incident.
Oh, the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer. Yeah. And,
Oh, man. It was extremely hot. It was, I think, Bryan, you had went to Colorado. And then,
Yeah, I went to a filmmaker's wedding out in Colorado, so I left my crew here in Kentucky to.
yeah, to do the fun work. Let's see, who was it? Cindy was there helping us. It was horrible. It was the worst I've ever seen anything. It took us, 3 days to clean it out? And then we were ready to shoot. So Let's see, what came after that? The rally scene. Other than cleaning it out, that wasn't a bad scene.
What did you actually store, just so that everybody knows?
Just so everybody knows, vitamin C. It was rough.
And then Winston Gillum, the little hippie protester, it was oregano and herbs. It wasn't real. It was not real. Okay, there wasn't real blood or anything.
I think me and you sat down and were like, what does all this drugs look like? And like the day before we
I never see drugs. I don't do drugs. I'm like, so what would like
So
a brick of cocaine look like? I'm
So we
like,
got styrofoam blocks. And you did all the styrofoam, and I think I did the marijuana and everything else. What else was there?
Sweet tarts and M&Ms.
Sweet tarts and M&Ms. I think all the
prescription
alcohol-
pills, and sweet tarts, you know, like,
All
it
the
tastes good
alcohol,
going down.
Dr.
right?
Pepper. Dr. Pepper. Yeah. What else? As far as
How you came to the epiphany of the third person with the trailer.
oh, that was a joke. Actually, I'd done the lawyer scene earlier. I guess it was the year before, and we come to the point where I think somebody dropped out on us on the trailer set, right? And everybody's like, "You wanted the bat in there. You had to get the bat in there so the bat would come across, and there was nobody there to roll you the bat." And I was joking, "Well, the lawyer should be in there." And of course, that was a joke, and then we had to actually do it.
I was dead serious too.
I didn't want to do it.
But it was just kind of funny because it was just one of those things we're trying to figure out for the movie. Because when my character is you know fighting the girl, and it would just be out of character for me to just suddenly overpower her and like you know take her off and like you know throw her down. When I've been already had like 3 fights up to this point, and then I wouldn't be like Superman. So they're like, what can we do that gets me out of the situation, but yet I don't overpower the situation? And he's just like, well, just roll the bat. I'm like, okay, that's great.
Rolling the bat was the hardest thing because it would never roll right. Or the grenades coming back in.
Oh yeah, the grenades.
I
It
don't
took
know
several
how
takes
you got
to hit the grenades right. Because I'm not a pitcher, so I can't really. I've never really thrown a grenade before, but hope I never have to.
Yeah.
Well, you
As
know-
far as writing,
Oh,
Question?
I was gonna say, that was, in that scene you were in, the funniest part was everybody's fighting and you're getting up with your briefcase and walking out like just like nothing's going on. That was so funny.
He grabbed
It was
a
classic.
Coke break.
It was
Get out of
classic.
here.
I was like, well, if he was really addicted to all this stuff, he's like, this is his golden opportunity. He can just steal everything and get out. So, I thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Freddie, you were funny with those goats too. That was really funny. Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
The kids.
Yeah, we've had well, that truck's been through a lot with the movie, with the goats and stuff, and I know me and Bryan have had some little the fight scene in the red dust of, what was it, the fairgrounds, that we did the fight scene that I know we were trying to push him against the back of the truck, and we did it a little bit too hard, and there's a dent there now, so we've had, yeah, the car chase scene was pretty fun. Oh, the geese. Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were going down the road on the car chase scene, and we were going down the roads or whatever. Randy was next to me, my little brother, and he was on the phone with Drew, while Bryan and Drew and Eric were behind us.
Eric was behind us.
Okay, Eric was behind us. Oh, there was 3 cars, wasn't there?
Yeah, 3 cars.
Okay, there was 3 cars going, and it was the truck, the yellow car, and then Eric and his the camera car, and then we turn around in this curve and we see like a line of geese right in front of us while we were so. It was turkey, yeah, it was wild turkey, and I yelled turkeys and hit the brakes. Randy yells turkeys, and it goes down the process. Drew yells turkeys, and yeah.
All 3 cars are locking up.
Yeah, it was. We've had some adventures, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Hit the stupid brake.
I was like, don't kill all of us.
Question. So to be clear, the goats weren't in the truck during that 60 mile.
Oh,
no.
No, they weren't bouncing around.
They were carried from the pit in the farm to the car. And then
But yeah. Yeah. Any more questions?
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
Cool.
That scene that you did with those triads, were you supposed to be drugged or did you die and come back?
Okay, yeah, so the triad and the occult scene, yes, Chuck actually died, and this was hinted in the script with me at the campgrounds, or at the fairgrounds where Nate's like, yeah, you're stop this, Chuck, you're gonna end up dead. That's kind of like foreshadowing, but he actually did die, and because of the drug laced cocaine or whatever in the mixture, and he was trying to complete whatever the concoction that thing was, but he actually did flatline, but he was still remaining somewhat conscious, and he did call on to a higher power to give him the strength to at least overcome and not completely flatline. So he did flatline, but then he was revived, and then everyone just kind of mysteriously vanished, just like, was it Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they just kind of like, keep your eyes closed, Marion, keep them closed. And all the Nazis are gone. That's pretty much it. We actually did have another cool way to have the cult members leave, and I wanted to have a scene where I come to and the cult is still there because we haven't wrote them off yet. But I wanted to have a quick fight with Ben, and he would eventually get into his car and drive through the set, smashing all the chairs and smashing all the flags, and just barrel out of there, and he'd be gone. I really, really wanted to do that, but the reason why I didn't do that because I needed to sell the car. So I needed to get my money back in the car. So that's how I bought the 5 cars, is because I would shoot with one, shoot with scenes, sell it, use that money to buy another one, sell that one, buy another one, and so on and so forth. So I couldn't destroy the car. I really wanted to, but I ended up I sold the blue Eldorado to a guy in Russia. So of all places. Okay, since Ben Wood worked with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I knew that he was on my movie, I went out and bought that blue car just for him. And that blue car, that Eldorado, that white and blue coupe, is the same car that was used in Terminator 1 with Sarah Connor and Arnold Schwarzenegger as they're having the chase down the LA freeway in the parking garage. That's the same car. So I did that because I wanted to reference Ben Wood's character, and we just put a bit of background and just give some dialogue for the director's commentary. I mean, nobody probably here caught that. And there's another cameo homage. The clock, Chuck's clock, is the Groundhog's Day clock. From 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And that was just to symbolize that Chuck is remaining the same person every day, every day, every day. And that Rosie was changing, his job was changing, his life was changing, but Chuck was the same person every day. And that was the Groundhog's Day clock. I sold that clock for over $100 because it's actually a very rare clock. And this is another production or prop, the secrets, but that clock, there's a Panasonic, I think it's a Panasonic clock. They made 2 versions of that clock. One has like wood grain, and the other one was the gloss white, which was used in the movie. The gloss white one is actually super rare. I don't know if in the 70s they all decided to smash all the white Panasonic clocks or something, but it's very rare. So I didn't want to pay $200 for this stupid clock, but I wanted it. So I found the wood grain version of the clock, broke it down, painted it white, and then used it, and then turned around and sold it for $100. So that was just me doing the loop-de-loop on props and stuff.
You talking about the yellow O's being in those other movies? Was it the one like in Spider-Man that Uncle Ben?
Yes, the same car. Because Sam Raimi, he directed the first original 3 Spider-Mans.
When Peter came out after the rest of the thing.
In that the guy stole the car, that's the same car. Now that car that in my movie was originally green. It had some engine problems and stuff like that. So I went down to the fairgrounds. I think his name's Daryl Paget. He did some body shop, and I went up to Coach Craft in Lexington. He got a new vinyl top, replaced the front windshield. The front windshield was cracked. I spent about maybe $3,000 or $4,000 just fixing up that car just for the scene, and it was just kind of like I said, when I'm doing this homage, and I got the original guy that worked with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell in my movie, it was just that much more of a punch. Like I could do this stuff. And like I said, I've done 5 cars and restored 2. The hearse was actually going to be at Fred's the vehicle that Fred drives in the car chasing, because I would have loved that 73 Oldsmobile with the 74 hearse, like doing some like crazy car chase stuff. But the hearse, the brakes went out on the hearse. And then, and I already did some repairs to the hearse. There was some damage in transport because I bought that car from Missouri and they transported to Kentucky and they smashed the windshield. It was a long story. I ended up doing more work on the hearse, and then when the brakes went out, I said, okay, that's it. I'm pulling the plug. I'm done with the hearse. So the only scene we used for the hearse was when it smashed the Dreamcast, the video game. So at least it got to make it in the movie somewhere. So it wasn't just a lost cause. But I love that hearse. It was awesome. It had a 500 engine in it. It was just in the exhaust pipes were flamethrower exhausts. So you'd step on the gas, flames would shoot out. And it was jet black tinted windows. It was amazing. But I couldn't keep it. So.
So where's the Cadillac now? I mean, the Oldsmobile.
Okay, the Oldsmobile, I sold it to Powell Martin Don Young, and then he sold it to Powell Martin, and then it's somewhere else.
J.J. Goins had it for a little bit.
Okay, so that Oldsmobile's going around Stanford, okay?
For sale out here, you gonna sell it?
The 59, the Cadillac?
Yeah.
That's actually, the 59 Cadillac's actually my dad's, and they've been working on that restoring that for about 8 years. So yeah, that car was originally supposed to be Chuck's main car, but when we started working with it, it kind of we were afraid because at that time we could only drop on 1 gallon gas that was actually inside the hood, and we'd have to fill it up every time we go to Danville and back. So it wasn't roadworthy, so we couldn't use it every day like we wanted to. So we only got to plug it in for that last scene.
And then the 76 Cougar that I bought to replace Chuck's vehicle, that was sold to a guy in New York. And that car, and now at the very end of the movie where I'm fighting the demon with the chainsaw, and that plays homage to the video game Doom. I grew up with that game, played it all the time, and I've been talking with John Romeo, who he worked on, was the programmer that worked on that game, and he drove a 76 Cougar during the production of making that movie, or making the game. So I tracked down a suitable replacement for Chuck to drive. It was the Cougar, and I sent him an email. I said, "Hey, look at the car that I'm driving around," and he sends me back, "Hey, I had a car just like that in the '90s." I'm like, "Yeah, I did my homework."
So was it an actual Eager Beaver chainsaw in the game?
That's exactly what they used, and the chainsaw, the Eager Beaver, and I mean that was really cool. Because I went to his website, and he has a section on his website where he has production photos from '93 where he's been working on the game. He had these old Apple IIe computers that he's been working on the game, and there's all these props because all the monster that you fight in the games and stuff, those were all hand sculpted clay figures that they painted, and they would rotate and they move their arms and stuff. And he has all those pictures, and I'm just looking through there, and I see the chainsaw. And I'm like, okay, so I zoom in on the picture. Okay, got the name, go to eBay, it's on eBay, bought it. So like I said, this is part of my homework, trying to get all the accurate props and stuff like that. Because John Romero, he was supposed to be one of the voiceovers in the movie, but he had to drop out. He was working on some other games at the time, and it was in crunch mode. But one of the person that I got in the trailer, and he also has some other lines in the movie, is that John St. John, he is the voice of Duke Nukem, and he has this really deep macho announcer voice, and I was able to track him down, and he played some other roles in some movies and stuff, so he was a suitable replacement for what I needed him for, and it was really great working with him because it's another cool thing about this movie is that I grew up as a child watching these people work, and the guy who was the voice of Hal. He was an animator that animated the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon shows in the 90s. I would wake up at 5:30 every morning before school and watch an episode of Sonic the Hedgehog and then walk to school. And that guy that animated those shows is in my movie. And it's just really kind of cool that I grew up with these people and now they're working for me. So.
What about Luigi's necklace?
No, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Luigi's necklace was from the prop guy in Texas. So yeah, we mentioned that. Any other questions?
No blooper reel?
It will be like a 4-disc box set just for bloopers alone.
Yeah. After we finished rendering the final movie project, our computer crashed. So
that's just some of the other frustrations of working on this movie. The cameras and the software that I'm using is almost 10 years old. So that's ancient times. It's for people that are in the tech field.
It was the exclamation mark to the entire project. It's like, we got it on a DVD, yes! And it's like...
So it may be a little bit longer before I can make a DVDs available for everybody, but just bear with me. I'm talking to these two guys up here in front about building me a new computer. So hopefully, with the funds generated here, I can buy another computer, then keep going. But for right now, it's on hold.
Yeah. Question?
Tell the people here the little gizmo you're talking into before you see Dr. or Mr. Dr. Verbeek. See if anybody remembers the movie that.
Well, that watch that Jayme had was apparently, I guess, a 70s AM radio.
No, I meant the red thing on the wall.
Okay. Oh, that's how. And that was a homage to Stanley Kubrick's 2001: Space Odyssey, which he's a phenomenal director. And that was just, and Jayme, his character's a mad scientist working with robotics and stuff. So I just thought, okay, he's got a sentient computer, kind of like Siri for the iPhone. So, but you think Stanley Kubrick, and they did that in the 70s or 60s. They already envisioned this whole computing Skynet. It's coming, guys. So we're going to be fighting robots here soon. I promise. But so that was just that Howl is just a homage to 2001: Space Odyssey, which is a good classic movie from Stanley Kubrick, along with a Full Metal Jacket and some other cool ones.
Y'all have something else planned?
Oh.
This line?
We are.
Look at Drew. Everyone look at Drew. Okay, now he's pointing at me. So
I got a comment after that question. I'm really proud of y'all for what it's worth. I mean, y'all don't know me, but that's awesome movie. And for y'all to have a passion and follow it and fight for it as hard as you can, it was awesome.
I'm currently going to Asbury University, majoring in film and media communication, and I have an opportunity through them to shoot another feature film, but using all of Asbury's equipment, which is, like we have a $20,000 camera, and then we can have a full crew. But we're currently brainstorming on different ideas. But
Or a script or something.
There's stuff floating.
there's some scripts floating around. But
this is the first of many, I assure you. So, but yeah, we plan to keep doing this. So it's.
Think you grow hair in the next movie?
We can
What
try.
was so funny about, you had sent out, I don't know how he emailed everybody, but I got one at the radio station, and it was like a casting call, and I actually sent it back as a joke, and I said, well, if you've got a spot for a fat bald-headed man, let me know. And I didn't think I would hear that, and then he was kind of like, as a matter of fact, I did. So that's how that came about, I never even envisioned it.
That's how it gets built.
Yeah. Let's joke about making movies and actually make one. Now what do we do? So,
in fact, just even with Fred, Fred was a stand-in from another person. Drew was a stand-in. Sam back there, he played 2 different characters. So like I said, I just kind of like was pulling so many strings to try to get all these characters together. And like I said, there was another actor that was actually fitted for Jayme's character. Jayme's wardrobe that he wore was actually fitted for another actor from Indiana who canceled at the last second. So it was already fitted for him, and it fit Jayme fine, so it was great. It was a great stand-in.
But I had to shave my mustache down pretty tight, and I had a problem with that because of the wax. So now I'm just growing my own.
And that was the same thing with the guy that played Mario. He didn't have a mustache, and we gave him a fake mustache. And we would have these, every 5 minutes we'd have something called a mustache break, because the glue wasn't strong enough and his mustaches would be falling off. So he'd be talking, it'd be falling down, it'd be like mustache break.
yeah. Gradually throughout the shoot, it just kind of grows apart a little bit.
But see, the Luigi, he grew out a real mustache. So that every time I say mustache break, he'd be like, "Why don't you, Mario? Why don't you just grow a real mustache?" You know. I mean, like, the guy Clint Coyce, he's a stand-up comedian from Indiana. So all those lines that he did, like "We're number 1 to clean up, you're number 2," that was all ad-lib by him, and he was just really, really great. And he'd sell me for $100. I mean, that wasn't in the script. So he was just kind of like Bill Murray. He just looks at the script and throws it away, but like, I don't need it, I got it. You know.
Well, I saw Jayme one day when you were about to film, and I saw Jayme just standing out beside the road. We were working on the project out there
At the ice house?
at the ice house.
Yeah.
And I come driving up through there, and Jamie's standing out on the edge of the road in that outfit. And so I pull up, I roll the window down, and I go, "What are you doing?"
You were thinking, oh my Jayme.
Why don't you get a Martin Luther King Boulevard dressed like this?
Yeah. And so he goes, the Sanders boys, they're filming, and they asked me to be in this thing. So. But he had that crazy little gun thing. I just said, okay.
Roll the window up, keep on driving, keep going. Can't stop here. There was actually 2 Dreamcasts used in the making of this movie. One was destroyed, and I still have the other one. I'm very, very
Nolan's was destroyed because he got one for his birthday one year, and it was run over.
It was sacrificed for the movie, but one of the other I mentioned this to Mark back there that one of the other video games for that montage scene where Chuck sold everything, he's trying to win Rosie back. He pulls out this one NES game cartridge and sets it down, and he gets like $20,000, and he buys an Escalade with it. That's actually a real video game. It's called State of Events by Bandai, and if anyone in here goes to Goodwill and finds it, just with the cartridge alone, it's like $20,000. So if you have it, it's a very extremely rare game, and Matt's like, I played that game a long time ago. Now I wish I had it.
The
Like,
one that's just been found here in the last few months had a.
Yeah. I was just reading a story about that. This one girl went to a Goodwill and saw the game, and she bought it for $8, and she turned around and sold it for like $28,000. So like it was just me doing my homework, because Chuck is a gamer, and he has collections and stuff. So that was just kind of a little homage scene that.
I was whispering in her ear, "That's an expensive game." He's showing me.
Yes.
Yeah, I was afraid like some of the younger crowd wouldn't catch it, and I was like, oh, no.
I got it.
Yeah, okay,
I like
that's
it.
awesome. Yeah, but yeah, that was our collection of video games and all of our collection of movies, building up to this part. But most of them were sold to continue filming.
Yeah, I pretty much sold everything. I currently sold my truck and my iPhone so I can finish shooting the occult scene, because making all those flags and banners and getting the chair and the podium and gas for loading up the truck and stuff, that was probably, and not to mention paying Ben, that occult scene was probably maybe $600 to $800. And then the car chase scene, we've got 4 vehicles. One's a crew vehicle, one in the, I don't know what's in your truck. It's big. But so, and we shot that in 4 weeks, so that entire scene, all said and done, was probably about $3,000 for just maybe less than 5 minutes on film.
Gas was probably the biggest.
Gas was like around $4 a gallon at that time.
But one thing it helped me by doing that, because it was like three sheets walking this way, then you go over there, and I did, it's like 9 times of just me walking to the door. So when me and my brother was in the Turtle Man show, they kept getting cameras out. I was like, I know what we're doing. It's gonna be good in a movie,
I'm a professional.
Yeah, I've done this before, So it was like, it wasn't a big deal, and they would hand me the script, like, So it gave me that stepping stone.
And that was another thing that for another actor, the guy that played Mario, he was a stage actor from Indiana, and he wasn't familiar with with film. So he would say the line one time and be like, "Okay, we're done. Move on to the next." I'm like, "No, we had to take the camera and move it to different angles and record." And he's like, he couldn't understand that, because he's used to live stage plays. So then it never occurred to him that you'd have to retake every shot. And some of the shots we didn't use, some shots we did, but if we just did everything on one take from one angle, it would be very, very boring. Okay, about to wrap it up. We're going to have the premiere at the same time tomorrow night at 6 to 9, but we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of the Q&A in the intro, if you guys want to come out again tomorrow night, we're going to show Papercut 1, Papercut 2, and then a third movie called Chuck's New Job, which we shot in Ohio. And Chuck's New Job is actually online right now, but if you want to see it on the big screen and see Papercut 1, where it all started, just be back here tomorrow night at 6. So I believe that's everything. So.
Oh yeah, and we'll be outside. We can sign some T-shirts, or if you guys want to buy any of the original artwork for the comic book, which was a prequel to the movie, and hear a little bit more about the backstory, you can check out the comic book. And yeah.
Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you so much.